Welcome back to episode 2 of the Gridiron Guys YouTube channel. And today, with only 2 days to the NFL draft, we're going to be talking about our biggest draft sleepers. All of these guys are day 3 picks likely, flying under the radar at small schools. And Kevin, tell us about our first sleeper, quarterback James Morgan.
Yep, James Morgan is the former Florida International and Bowling Green transfer quarterback. James is most likely going to be he's going to be a day 3 pick. A lot of buzz is circulated around James's name once he started around the combine, talking to teams like the Patriots and other quarterback needy teams. James has a lot of tools that remind a lot of people of Tom Brady. He's 6'4", 229 pounds, and if I'm not mistaken, Tom Brady is around the same. He's got great touch, which cannot be really taught to a quarterback. It's just something that they have. He does have some problems that are similar to Brady as well. He is stripped up very often when hit by quarterbacks, but he's not afraid to take a hit, and he always delivers through contact. And another thing is safeties tend to read him very easily. His eyes tend to get locked into safeties. But the thing that screams out is his arm talent. He's a very precise passer who has major league arm talent. That's what Lynn Zerline said, and I agree with it. He throws the ball very hard. You can see a lot of back shoulder fades where he's throwing the ball perfectly every time, and other plays where he's throwing it 30, 40 yards down the field, and it's an absolute dime. So I think he's somebody that we can potentially see have an impact like Tom Brady did. And who knows, maybe the Buccaneers pick that they just traded to the Patriots for Rob Gronkowski will turn into James Morgan, the future successor to Tom Brady.
Yeah, and we're not calling him the next Tom Brady.
No.
We're identifying the characteristics that are comparable, and we're pointing out that we think he has a very high rate to succeed for a late round quarterback. He'll probably be picked 5th, 6th, 7th round. Those picks are all just crap shots, really, and we think he has a much higher potential than most teams view him as. And our next favorite prospect is Alex Highsmith, who we are going to have as one of our top probably 32 players on our big board. And we didn't find Highsmith till later on in the evaluation process, but when you turn on his tape, he just jumps out. He's a physical beast, being able to turn his speed rush into power, knocking tackles flat on their back. And he played in a weak conference as he played for Charlotte, but you can turn on his tape against Clemson, probably the biggest powerhouse in college football right now, and you can see his impact. Dabo Sweeney and Trevor Lawrence were running away from him for majority of the game. I think in that game he had a sack, a couple tackles for a loss.
Forced
And this is
fumble.
against the forced fumble. This is all against top tier talent. He's 6'3", 250, great speed, great athleticism. And we have him as a round 1 talent. The small school is hurting him, but he had dominant production as an NFL player should have at a small school. I mean, there's nothing not to like about this guy. High character guy. I mean,
I think
Kevin, would
he
you be
had,
mad if this is the first round selection or second round selection for your team?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad because I think he has the talent and upside to do it. He has a load of potential. Um, he's a little bit smaller than you would like, but 6'3" is not a bad size for an edge rusher.
And he
Um,
has great speed,
I,
which is
I give
also
I
another
think
great stat with him.
he's honestly, when he walks into the NFL team that he gets drafted to, like their training facility in July, I think he'll be a starting special teams player at minimum with the opportunity to work into a starter at the defensive side of the ball. But he did put up, 14 and a half sacks, and sacks translate. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
going from
If you
Charlotte
don't
to
get
the NFL
sacks,
is pretty big, but
if you're not getting sacks as a pass rusher in college, the production honestly won't translate. Putting up 15 sacks in probably 13 games last year, it shows that he has the capabilities to be a productive NFL pass rusher, and he won't jump into a starting job, but I think he will rapidly find more and more playing time on the field, starting with special teams.
mhm.
And now, speaking of another pass rusher that we think is going to be very talented at the next level, is Derek Tuskous. I butchered that pronunciation,
Tuska,
but
I think. I
Tuska,
don't know.
Tuska.
Weird name.
And He is 6'5", 250, had 13 and a half sacks as a senior last year. And he's given me a Kevin Campbell this great comparison to Max Crosby. He's been criticized for not being the most athletic, not having the longest arms, top tier tackles in the NFL, will be too athletic for him. But he straight up wins at the point of attack. He has great hand usage and great bend for a guy that is at a D2 school. And he has he's had comparisons I've seen to TJ Watt, just play style, or Max Crosby. He just wins at the point of attack. He's not the biggest guy, not the fastest guy, but you can't discount a player who's a good football player just because he doesn't have the ideal traits to dominate at that position. I think a lot of these small school guys that we're finding as our sleepers are discounted because their level of competition is lower, and maybe they don't have the ideal physical build, but their elite production against their peers is showing us that they can do it at the next
Yeah,
level to some
it shouldn't
extent.
go unnoticed. But the reason why I like Max Crosby as a comparison for him is as a Raider fan, I've seen him do this a lot. But Derek uses his spin moves, his finesse moves, his power moves really well.
And his good bend.
And his good bend, but they're both similar size. Crosby was about 6'6", 250 before he added some weight on to bulk up for the NFL playing time. But Derek being 6'5", 250, they both have very long arms. Max Crosby being compared to a condor by Brian Baldinger, but Derek, he really used his length to his advantage, and there were so many plays that I just saw Max Crosby in him. And I think he might be able
Yeah,
to come out year one even like Alex Highsmith. The two of them could have very productive seasons.
great potential for edge rushers that are likely to be drafted later in the draft. These guys could be absolute home run draft picks. Guys like Danielle Hunter, was he a late round pick?
I think he was a
Third
third.
round? Third round, still a third round. Like maybe they could slide into the end of the third round because it does go to pick 100. But you can find top tier talent in late rounds. You just got to look harder, and these two small school guys are great examples of that. And the next small school prospect we have who had a dominant collegiate career is Amik Robinson. Kevin, tell me why you love Amik Robinson.
Well, he's 5'8", 187 pounds, and he had 14 career interceptions in college, which is just unreal. Every time you watch this guy get an interception, he's pushing the guy out of the way. The guy in front of him might be 7 feet tall, 295 pounds, and he's still going to win the football. He's just a really aggressive slot cornerback. Guy reminds me of Tavon Young on the Ravens. He's probably going to be a fourth round pick who's going to slide right in as a nickel corner.
Yeah, and that's a position that's really taken a priority in the NFL these days. With teams like the Chiefs lining up five receivers, you're all coming out of 4-4. You need three guys, three corners specifically, who can play nice man coverage. And finding that is not easy nowadays, especially with corners being at a high premium. You all get guys like CJ Henderson and Jeff Okuda. The talent might not be there for top 10 picks, but those guys are likely top 10 picks over players that may be way more talented. And Amik Robinson, you can just watch him. He's fluid with his hips, 14 career picks. He can tackle, he has speed. The only thing is discounting him is his height, and that's why he's playing in the slot. He projects, honestly, as a year one starting slot corner if he gets the opportunity. I can see it happening.
I think he could be a plug and play at slot corner. I think he'll probably have to win a camp battle for it, but he has all the tools to do it. I think he can really slide in especially for a team like my Raiders. If we took him late in the third round or even a fourth round pick, I think he'd be a great fit to our team. Because like you said, the slot and the speedy guys that are starting to take over the NFL, you're going to need somebody to match up on them. And I think Amik Robinson can do it.
Exactly. Guys like Cole Beasley are going for 80, 90 yards a game now because these bigger corners can't get to him. Amik Robinson, 5'8", you can't discount that. You need a guy who's quick and can cover those 3-yard, 3rd and 3 little zig routes or out routes or slants. It's very important. And now our last sleeper. Kevin, tell us who our last sleeper is.
So our last sleeper is James Proche. James is 5'11", 201 pounds. He's a very versatile receiver that reminds me a lot of Stephon Diggs. The way that he runs routes, the way he catches, and the way he just plays his game. He's a kick returner, and a punt returner. In addition to being a good wide receiver, something that really stood out to me though was the way over the last 2 years he's had 209 catches and 27 touchdowns. And his ball tracking skills are really, really good, especially being 5'11". He's amazing at just being able to find the ball. His contested catch is a win almost every time. There's just so much I liked about him. His hands are just amazing. Kind of like Michael Thomas, Stephon Diggs. He's got elite hands for his position. Arguably the best hands in the draft.
And I'm just going to add that I think we're going to find a lot of good wide receiver value this year because these top tier guys are pushing talented receivers down the board. And this is an historical wide receiver class, not only at the top 5, 10 guys, it's deep. I think I saw someone saying that 18, 19 guys with top 3 round grades. And you look at last year's receivers like Darius Slayton found in the 5th round, coming into the Giants, not really getting much playing time until probably like week 6 or 7, and finishes the year with 800 yards, seven touchdowns. You can find wide receiver value late always, and now with this influx of talent at the wide receiver position in this year's drafts, I think guys like James Proche are going to be able to have great value later in rounds and really come in and make a lot of rosters that they may have not even got the chance to in other years.
Yeah, and including James Proche, there, like you said, there's an influx of wide receivers in this year's draft class, which will make a lot of them like flourish at the next level. Some other guys I liked were Tyler Johnson, Devin Duvernay, Isaiah Coulter, KJ Hill, Courtney Davis. Those are just a few of the guys that are going to go later on that I think could realistically be a starter really quickly. Tyler Davis, especially, or not Tyler Davis, Tyler Johnson from Minnesota, especially.
Exactly. And if we didn't include one of your top 5 or your favorite sleepers on this, we're sorry. We're not saying there aren't other sleepers in this NFL draft coming up in 2 days. These are just the guys that we think are going to dominate the next level and are going to greatly outperform their draft spot and projected talent. And in the next couple of days, we're going to be keeping to put out more draft coverage for the NFL draft and nearly 2 days away, and expect constant uploads from the Gridiron
Make
guys.
sure to like and subscribe.